Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome into the most watched show in junior hockey. And this is like a double most watched moment because not only is it the most watched show in junior hockey, the Dan K Show, it is the most watched Dan K Show content on planet Earth. Power Rankings week, baby. We had our NCDC Power Rankings Tuesday night. The South Shore Kings reign supreme right now in the NCDC. We look to the Premier and Elite tonight, and I could not rank these incredible organizations throughout the Elite and Premier of the USPHL without the help of my right-hand man, my consigliere, mon frere from another mare. It is Lucas Jones. Hola, bonjour, guten tag. How are we doing, Lucas Jones, today?
We're doing great. Yesterday we unveiled the top 10 teams in the NCDC, the first time we ranked 10 teams in the NCDC, but tonight we're going to rank 30 teams. When you talk about the sheer number of organizations, it feels like Tuesday's power rankings were a little aperitivo. Now we're getting into the main course tonight. 10 teams in the Elite, 20 teams in the Premier. This is what it's all about.
As they say in Germany, Prost. I think that means cheers or drink or something along the lines. I probably should have Googled it before I said it, but I'm pretty sure I'm close to it. Lucas, we start with the top 10 in the Elite. Let's wait no longer. This is a historical number 10. They were in a race with a couple squads, Wilkes-Barre, Bold City, and IHC, all in a battle with these guys. We put the Cougs, at number 10, the first ever Midwest Elite side to make the top 10 of the power ranking. Chicago Cougars, a 3-0 start to their season.
Yeah, that's right. And, you look at their goal differential, and I think that kind of tells the story about where the Cougars are, right? They have 3 good wins against the Decatur Blaze to kick off not just their season, but the first season in Midwest Elite history. The Chicago Cougars put themselves in the prove me spot. Because this is the Midwest Elite has never happened before, the whole really division is a prove me spot, right? So you got to keep winning games. You got to keep being dominant. You got to keep playing good hockey.
Yeah, Andrew Engstrom with 6 points leading the way, along with Mark Shivalov, 6 points for him as well. Jack Powers, a 5.4 goal start to the weekend and the season. He had a power play goal. How about defenseman Trey Henderson with 3 power play goals in the opening series of the season? This is a roster filled with young talent, a ton of superstars that are super young right now. 3 different netminders made an appearance in the first weekend of the season. Philip Kazmerchek, who had 1 goal allowed in his appearance on 11 shots faced. Cole Went, who had 2 goals against average, and John Dillard, who stopped 19 of 21 shots in a victory as well. A strong start, a balanced start, and a good Cougars team out of the gates here. We'll see if they can stay atop. Watch out for the Crush. Watch out for the Metro Elite side. This is going to be a tough Elite division in the Midwest all season long. We go to number 9, to a division that is always tough in the Elite. The PAL Junior Islanders at 9, Lucas. And this is a team right now at 4-2 who have an argument to be higher up. They'll have to show us a little more. We got a chance to see them in person. They're on a 2-game losing streak. This is a PAL Junior Islanders team, though, that when they have it rolling in the Atlantic Division, they're always tough to beat.
Yeah, and I think that's the best way to describe it, right? When they're on their game, when they're rolling, they're an incredibly difficult team to try to beat. Right now, they've got a couple of good wins under their belt. As you say, they're 4-2. The 2 losses to Hampton Roads Whalers and Somang Prep, both teams that have shown us early on that they are going to be exceptional squads. So when you have a close goal differential, 23 goals for, 16 goals against, when you have a couple of losses against very good teams, you can take a record, you can look at it, you could spin it a couple of different ways. They certainly deserve to be in the top 10. But as you say, you do need to show a little bit more, or at least more consistently throughout the next couple months.
Yeah, Michael Raguseo looked great in net for us. We didn't get a chance to see Lacente in perfect person this time around, but he's off to a solid start between the pipes as well. Justin Morrissey is the go-to guy on this squad. 10 points for him in the season. Bobby Trites with 10 as well. Then you drop down to Benjamin Benjamin, and Jack Fitzpatrick with 4 points. This is a deep team. It's a solid team. But the team we put ahead of them here at number 8, same division, behind them right now in the standings, but a squad that with Coach Wags behind the bench, I wouldn't want to have to play in that Atlantic Division This is my early season favorite to win the Atlantic Division this regular season. I got the Rockets Hockey Club at number 8, and I battled for this one, Lucas.
Yeah, you did. And this goes to show that our power rankings are not just straight down divisions, right? Just because you're first place in your division doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be higher than somebody else. For the Rockets, they went and they took 2 of 3 games against the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, always a tough squad. And this year against a resurgent Elmira Impact, right? Elmira obviously joining the elite side this year, but at both levels, showing that the team is a strong contender. So I think right now with the Rockets Hockey Club, a little bit better defensively, but not by much. A little bit better on the goal differential. But you look at who they've played, you look at the start they're out for, and I think the Rockets Hockey Club deserve to be here.
Yeah, John Crodell, 18 points for him, 6 goals, 12 assists. He has 8 power play points, 3 power play goals, 5 power play assists. Jace Lombardo at third overall in point getting. Crodell leading the entire elite with 18. Lombardo in third with 14. Crodell also leading in assists with 12. You look at Lombardo with his 8 goals, tied for the league lead in scores. Then you go down to number 10. Don't forget about Aiden Ball, who's having a ball right now, having an absolute blast playing for this Rockets side. This team comes with the ability to score, and they're guys who you can always tell when a coach is beloved by his players, the way that Coach Wags is, by the amount of guys that stick around. And all 3 of those guys have stayed with this program. You look at Joseph Alletti, 3-0 on the season in net, a 9.53 saves percentage, a 1.67 goals against. Early showings right now from Joseph Alletti. He might be the best netminder in the country in the elite. If he keeps the stats going the way he is, he will certainly be that. Watch out for this Rockets team all season long. Number 7, all roads lead to Hampton Roads. This team went 4-0 on the weekend at the Junior Bruins shootout. They do get 1 forfeit win, right? So the Les Sommets Falcons, they had a bus breakdown on the way to the rink. So you get the 1 win. That was probably their toughest game on the docket. So that brings them back a little bit here on a 4-0 weekend. Technically a 3-0 on ice weekend for the Hampton Roads Whalers, but still nothing to be disappointed about in Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, we always love a team that is willing to take their show on the road, right? To go and commit themselves to those out of division games very early on. For Hampton Roads, Potomac, another team that did that this past weekend at the Boston Junior Bruins shootout, I think Hampton Roads showed us something, right? They went in, they took care of business. That brings them out to a 4-2 start, 8 points, a +8 goal differential right now. I liked the product. That's what it is, right? If they pass the eye test, I think they're going to be off to a strong season in a very competitive Southeast Division.
Yeah, and you look in net, talked about the Rockets having potentially one of the best netminders in the country. How about Gene Berthauden? 1-1 to start the year, but a 9.35 saves percentage, a 1.51 goals against. Ryan DeLong and Tariq Filipuzzi leading the way in points with 4. This is a team that doesn't score a ton, right? This is a team that scores balanced. 18 different skaters with a point already registered to kick off this season. They're not going to run you out of the rink. They're not going to outscore you by a ton. They're going to play tough, hard-nosed hockey, and it's the kind of hockey that scouts around the country are going to want to watch. This is a team in Hampton Roads that will be difficult to deal with. We move to number 6. This is a squad that last season, every season, always difficult to deal with. We love Coach Tim Plummer. He's the best plumber since Mario and Luigi. Northern Cyclones at number 6. This comes from only playing a little bit so far. We haven't seen a lot of Northern hockey just yet in the elite, but I think on resume, on knowing what this roster is, just looking at it with the eye test, this Cyclones team will be difficult all season.
But Dan and Lucas, they've only played 1 game. How could you possibly rank them? We've been through this year after year, ranking after ranking. These early season rankings are based just as much off roster confidence as they are off a record, or in the Northern Cyclones case, lack thereof. 1 game, 1 win. Against Simcoe County Academy, they won by 7 goals by a score of 8-1. I don't see anything so far that leads me to believe that we can expect anything less from the Northern Cyclones. They only really have to go up from here.
Yeah, and Michael Anstey in net's a solid netminder. Corey Gerard with 3 goals and 1 assist in the opening game. Watch out for the Northern Cyclones as the season goes on. Like Lucas said, they can go up, they can go down, right? We haven't seen a lot of them yet, but there are times in power rankings. Power rankings aren't about standings. If it was about points, why would we make the show, right? We would literally put whoever has the most all the way down to whoever has the least. We would rank everybody. But It's about what we see on the ice, what we're expecting as the season goes on. And the goal is to try to pinpoint that champion. And in the Elite, still to this day, the Dan K Show has never missed in its final power rankings on who is going to win the championship. We did it with Carolina last year. It will continue that way. Let's go to number 5. At number 5, the Charlotte Rush, the Big Red, halfway up the list.
Yeah, and this is where it starts to get a little bit tough, right? You look at a team like the Charlotte Rush, obviously coming in with some heritage. They come in on paper with a plus 22 goal differential. They've got some really good wins here. Columbia Infantry, Atlanta Mad Hatters. They've lost to the Junior Canes, which we'll get to eventually. But I think for the Charlotte Rush, right, they play in a tough division. They put a good team together. And we know from experience that a lot of these teams in the Elite, including the Charlotte Rush, are not afraid to shake things up in a month, second month, right? Really fine tune that roster. So I think this is a good spot to start off Charlotte.
Yeah, the net minding has been stellar throughout for this Rush side. The big story, the rookie Benjamin Kluza, 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points in 6 games played. He's got a shorthander as well. This team's already scored twice shorthanded. Luke Vega with 2 game winners in his 4 games played. That's a 50%. 50% of the time, he wins the game for you every time, Lucas. That's the saying right there. You look down the list, you want to talk about balance and scoring. 21 different skaters have tallied a point for the Charlotte Rush. The big question is, can they get over the hump of the teams we're about to read in front of them? There are 4 teams in front of them that they will see plenty of this season. At number 4, I feel like they're always stuck in this 4 spot in the Elite. I feel like this is where they've hit that ceiling, but they're always a national title contender. They're always right on the cusp, and they just run potentially one of the best run organizations in the history of sports at this level for young athletes. Just such a family atmosphere, so well done from top to bottom. We absolutely love this family, the Florida Eels.
Yeah, Florida Eels starting off the season with 8 points, 4-1-0-0. They're playing some tight hockey, though. 17 goals for, 12 goals against. Not really anything there that's outside of the ordinary, but they're really doing well. They're sticking to their game. That's the biggest thing early on in the season, right? When we watch a team and we say, oh, they look completely different, right? Can set off alarm bells in either direction. But for the Florida Eels, it looks like they're going out there taking business as usual.
Yeah, and this Florida Eels team, they're always going to have depth. They're always going to have the ability, and they're always going to have a coaching staff behind the bench that understands what's necessary to win. The most interesting thing about this Eels team, the Eels usually, both in the Elite and Premier levels, with Coach Hill, with Coach Scarpacci, with the crews that have always been there, their blue line's usually a blue line. Like, that's the stopping point, right? They play defense and the forwards go score and stretch the ice. And those 2 guys are anchored back, ready to make things happen. Top 2 leading point getters right now, both from the blue line. Sean Burke, defenseman with 6 assists. That's a 6-point start to the season. He's getting 1.2 per game. He's got 3 power play assists. Then Nikita Shevyev, I'm going to get this right, I promise, by the time I'm on the air, but Shevyev, the defenseman there, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points for him in 4 games. He's got a point per game. He's also got a power play assist. You got Zane Haddon-Harris. How about the Haddon-Harris family sending another skater to Florida? We talked about Coach Wags. When you can see lineage, you can see brothers coming up through the ranks, and you can see players sticking around, how much the organization must be doing right. Same thing here with Zane Haddon-Harris coming in, the centerman. He's got 3 points on the season. This is going to be a really difficult team to deal with all year long. You've got 3 netminders who can stop the puck. Nate Haas leading the way. 3-0 start to the season for Nate Haas. And this is a young man who is great both on and off the ice, a stellar human, and an even better netminder right now. 2.28 goals against. He's seen 103 stops. He's stopped 96 of them. He's got a 932 saves percentage. This team is good. And the only team above him at number 3 in their division, from the Florida division as well, is the Tampa Bay Juniors. This has been a wholesale line change, you could call it, for Garrett Stroh and the Stroh Bros and this organization. Coach Rhett Vossler leaves the bench and moves to the Bold City Battalion up north. He moves up north. This is like a Game of Thrones thing, but like a very friendly Game of Thrones, because these are all Minnesotans, right? And Texas folks. They're all very nice to each other. Everyone loves each other, but it's still like, we like to think of it for media purposes as like the Game of Thrones music in the background. And Rhett Foster's like, I'm king of the north. I'm king of the north of Florida. And
King
Garrett
of the slightly
Stroh,
more north.
And Garrett Strode's like, I'm slightly more South. And I think you betcha I'm the king of the South. And that's what these two are arguing over right now, but not arguing, but basically shaking hands and being like, hey, I really wish you the best of luck. Tampa Bay Juniors are number 3 in the league.
Tampa Bay is 4-0 to start the season, converting all 8 of 8 points to kick things off. And in those 4 games, Dan, they've given up 4 goals. That's impressive enough for me. That is more than enough for me to give my stamp of approval to a team when you can lock down defense. Doesn't matter who you're playing. You give up 1 goal a game, you are one of the top teams, especially in that Florida division where we know that the offense comes in bunches.
That is an incredible, incredible start for the Tampa Bay Juniors. You look at what the Strokes are doing out there right now. They're going to, every game matters, right, Lucas? Florida wins the division at the Elite and Premier last year because they took care of business early on when Tampa was stumbling. Tampa taking care of business early on. Florida doing it again. You look at Shane Pissarro. They just trade Dylan Bruce away after starting 2-0 on the season, and they still got net money. They got Marcus Benzarem in net. They got Shane Pissarro. Dylan Bruce going to make the move up to Elmira and get a chance with the junior enforcers up there. Kevin Rossello, 7 goals, 1 assist for 8 points. Dylan Heineman with 2 and 5. Mookie Killen. We got a Mookie back in the league, baby. Come on. It's one of my favorite names on the planet. You talk about Mookie Betts. You talk about Mookie Wilson. Now we're talking about Mookie Killen. He's got 4 goals, 2 assists. Jacob Munkwitz with 2 and 2. Lucas Gonzalez, the left defenseman, with 4 apples on the season. Carter Trussler adding 3 more. Keelan Jameson. What a job they are doing in Tampa. Let's go to number 2. The Potomac Patriots at number 2, Lucas. Talk about this squad.
Yeah, Potomac looks really good so far. 6-2-0-0, 12 points, 35 goals for, 18 goals against. So they're giving up a few more than I'm sure they would like, but when you have a plus 17 goal differential through 8 games, you can't really be mad at that. Wins against Hampton Roads Whalers, wins against the Junior Canes, Picks, Connecticut Junior Rangers, College Universal. They end up splitting that series with the Junior Canes, losing to the Les Sommets Falcons. I just think that Potomac has really solidified themselves as one of the top teams, not just in the Southeast, but in the USPHL at both the elite and premier level. They continue to do it year after year. Great coaching, great ownership, fantastic facilities that get improved every single year. The Potomac Patriots are proving over and over and over again why they're one of the top 5, top 3, top 2 teams.
We love this squad. We love what they're doing. And what's not to love about Kyril Golubev, the defenseman with 15 points. You talk about 5 goals and 10 assists from the blue line. He is the best offensive defenseman in this league right now in the elite. He is a must-watch every time he takes the ice. Every time he laces them up, you got to turn on Flow Hockey and check out what he's doing. Dominykas Georgievas, he's got 5 and 8 from the centerman position with 13 points. Liam Hanna, a great start to the season for him. And how about Taras Korchenko? Korchenko, 3 game-winning goals. He's got 3 goals on the season in 8 games. All 3 won a game. When he scores, game over. Call him Game Over Man. That's the new nickname for Korchenko. A lot of different starters have had a chance in net. Edward Caven, the guy with 2 chances. Martin Lukes with 2 chances. This team has got an abundance of talent, an abundance of ability, and there's not anyone you could possibly rank above them, Dan and Lucas. There's no way there could be a team that, with this official ranking, has broken the elite record for most consecutive months at number 1. Yet again, it's a new year. It's a new day. I've got a new haircut because I haven't gotten a haircut yet this season, and I need to go get one tomorrow before I head up to the Ice Vault Arena. But yet the Carolina Junior Hurricanes are still undefeated number 1s in the world. They're not undefeated on the score sheet just yet. We'll talk about that. But Lucas, they're still number 1 in the power rankings, undefeated in power ranking land.
Yeah, they split a series with Potomac, which I think helps Potomac more than it hurts the Junior Canes in terms of that ranking, right? They're playing really good hockey right now. 8 games, 7 wins, 7 and 1. Through those 8 games, 43 goals for. That is a pretty amazing goal total. They're at a plus 26. They've beaten the Infantry. They've beaten the Gens. We talked about them already beating Potomac. They beat the Rush twice. I just feel like once again we're seeing a Junior Canes team, which I called the greatest elite team ever assembled last year. I think they are making another run at the championship. Hard to win championships back-to-back years, but the Carolina Junior Canes off to a strong enough start that you might have some early hope.
And I will continue to beg the folks in Carolina, get a picture of Anthony Trantis on the website. I need to make a card for this young man. This guy has had 3 straight weeks of ultimate team performances. I can't make a card because I don't want to put no face on the Anthony Trantis card. But this guy's 3-0. He's got a 918 saves percentage, a 150 goals against. He's already got 2 shutouts on the season. What a job for him. You got Connie there, the leading point getter with 11, tied with Nathan Rhodes. We know what Nathan Rhodes can do. You talk about point getting from the blue line. Colby Markham and Maxwell Sullivan, both with 3 and 5 for 8. Markham's done his in 3 games, 3 power play goals, 3 power play assists in 3 games. That's stupid good. Like this team, you got Zach Rich on there. Like you talk about just the riches of ability, of talent, of unbelievable hockey. It never ends. Liam McCusker, who is just one of my favorite players on the planet, just a solid defenseman on the blue line, doesn't need to get involved offensively to change a game, can hit you hard, can put you through the boards. Carter Radasta, Colby Markham, again, I said twice because he's so good. Like you just Jackson Furlan, you can't say enough. Gregory Harder, who's already been on a card this year, he's got 5 goals. Like I could name every one of these players and it wouldn't be enough. I could name this organization over and over at the elite level. It wouldn't be enough. Brad Gaylord and his Carolina Junior Canes team continue to confound opponents around the country. That's it for the elite, Lucas. We get ready to go to the Premier. Let's run down that list one more time. At number 1, the Carolina Junior Canes. They do it again, breaking the record for most consecutive weeks at number 1, going all through last season and running the table, and now starting off this season as well at number 1. Number 2, the Potomac. Also, Lucas, I do want to point out for the Carolina fans, last season they were at number 1 every single month except for one, the very first month of the year, yet they still told us that we were somehow undervaluing their ability. So parents in Carolina, please don't come at me in my DMs yet again this season. Please stop yelling at me. You are number 1 for a record-breaking amount of times. I don't know what else to do for you guys to let you know.
Well, I think maybe they were annoyed at you personally because you didn't believe they were the greatest elite team.
Well, I didn't. I picked Wilkes. I never said they weren't the best ever. I said I think Wilkes is going to upset them, and then they went, "All you do is talk about Wilkes." I said the word Wilkes one time.
And you know what? You don't even have a Wilkes shirt to rep them on this episode either.
Carolina, slide into Lucas's DMs. I will provide his personal cell phone number on the bottom line so you can call him out. Number 2, the Potomac Patriots. Number 3, the Tampa Bay Juniors. Number 4, the Florida Eels. Number 5, the Charlotte Rush. Number 6, Tim Plummer and his Northern Cyclones. Number 7, the Hampton Roads Whalers. Number 8, the Rockets Hockey Club. Number 9, the PAL Junior Islanders. Number 10, the first Midwest side to ever crack the elite top 10, the Chicago Cougars. Cougs. That'll do it for the Elite Power Rankings. We'll be right back after a quick breather with your Premier Power Rankings. Welcome back in, hockey fans. Our Elite Power Rankings behind us. It is time to get in to the Premier Power Rankings. We've got 20 teams to rank. You can tune into the Dan K Show to see the first 5 out, almost like March Madness in the NCAA. You can see who we were contemplating adding into this that didn't make the top 20. But for now, let's take a look. We start at number 20, history. Lucas, we always love a first-timer. The First Timers Club's newest member at number 20 for the first time in franchise history, the Hershey Cubs. And what a start for the season for them. And what an addition in Marco Taffo to this squad.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge, right? Taffo is an incredible player. They beat Elmira twice to start the season, so 2-0-0-0, 4 points. You'll love it, right? And we talked in the Elite that the 10th spot was a proving spot. We always use it. Here in the Premier, you usually get 2019-18 are kind of your proving spots. So, Hershey Cubs, time to show up here. It's a big month of hockey ahead of you. Let's keep the train rolling.
Marc-Antoine Nadeau, a 2-0 record. I don't know why I went to this voice, but I got kind of caught up. So what happened here?
So what happened there?
Hold on. Let me give you some fin here, okay, little guys? So basically, I went from a French voice trying to get back to my own voice, and I couldn't get there. So for some reason I shredded the gnar. I don't know what happened. 2-0, baby. Okay, this guy's tubular with a 968 saves percentage. Come on, brother. A 1.50 goals against. Okay, Marc Antoine Nadeau saying adieu, bidding adieu to pucks all season long. That's where I wanted to get to. He's got a shutout. He's got a 1.50 goals against. He stopped 91 of 94 shots. This guy is unreal. Gabriel Leduc, a great addition to this side as well, a guy who we've seen throughout the USPHL. He's got 2 assists. William Machete, Alexis Gagnon. Like, you look at this team, Ben Moore, there's just a lot of familiar faces, new places, and a lot of guys running through this roster that know how to get things done at this level. Hershey, a dangerous number 22. Great job by the Boudreau family and the entire crew, Coach Thompson as well, and Coach Boudreau in Hershey. A great start to the season. Number 19. How about this? Another first timer in the First Timers Club. A team that just beat the big bad Vernal Oilers, who no one's been able to beat in this Northwest Division. The Seattle Totems' new coach, and an absolute stellar start for the boys in the rain-filled city.
Yeah, Seattle Totems stand 3-1-0-0, 6 points to start the season. They've given up 10 goals through those 4 games, so you don't hate that 2.5 goal per game number, especially when you see as many goals as there have been scored in that Northwest portion of the USPHL. They've got 2 wins against Bellingham, and then they've got 1 loss against Bellingham, but then they also have that win against Vernal, which you love to see. Don't hate that. Not quite split the 2-1 against the Blazers, but I think for Seattle, this is a great spot to start their season with. And again, time to prove it.
Yeah, Trevor Lukes leading the way with 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. Jesse James Aitken right there with 5 points on the season. 3 goals, 2 assists. I don't know why all these voices are coming out, okay? But, you got Roman Wolenek with 5 points. You got Seth Morris with 4. Seth Morris is a stellar skater. Bryce Neal with 4 as well. This is a team that can really do what they need to do on both ends of the ice. If they can continue to compete with Vernal, they're going to be tough all year. This is a 1 Nationals bid division. So Northwest, they get 1 team into Nationals. So they got Carson Shrimpton in that, Daniel Kleoff with a 18 save performance and a 1 goal allowed win. He's got a 947 saves percentage. This is a tough division to get out of. Vernal's going to be the team right now that's the bell cow to beat in that division. Can Seattle get it done? Right now, they're ranked above them in the top 20. Let's go to number 18. Congrats to Seattle and Hershey. First Timers Club. A 3rd straight First Timers Club. I feel like I'm giving out prizes on a morning talk show here, Lucas. PAL Junior Islanders at number 18. Their premier side has never cracked the top 20 in the power rankings in their history. They do it this season.
Yeah, and again, this is a good proof spot for them, right? 4-2-0-0, 8 points through the start of their season. Still tight on that goal differential, 18 goals for, 14 goals against, but wins against the Rockets, IHC, BJB, Gatineau Universal. They have losses against the Hitmen and South Shore. So for PAL, I think you have a lot of things to be encouraged about. You have a lot of things you're happy about. There's always going to be something, right? And for PAL, an organization that strives for perfection, they'll always find things to work on. But I think right now you can see that the pieces are in place.
Rio Murakami in net, 5 games played, 4-1. Call Murakami the saves tsunami. This guy is stopping every puck that comes near him. 150 saves already on the season. A 926 saves percentage. A 2.40 goals against. This kid is absolutely stellar. I love watching Rio take the net. He is so fun to watch in the crease there. Tomas Smetanka, we've talked about him in the past. He's got 7 points. Peter Labos, 8 points. James Clifford, 5 points for him. He's got 4 goals on the year, leading the team in goals scored. Zachary Wolf skating around the defenseman, Nathan Rabadam and Zachary Casandino. This team is deep. They are stellar. Trent Madura, don't forget about him. Watch out for Pal in that Atlantic Division. It's kind of a toss-up this year. You don't know who's going to get it. We keep moving up the list. Number 17, the Metro Jets Development Program. Yet another year of MJDP playing real well in that Midwest East Division.
Yeah, MJDP has established themselves, right, as one of the better teams in that division, and they're showing why. Through the first 3 games of the season, they were +8 in the goal differential. Through 3 games, they're scoring 13 goals, so the offense is firing. A split series against the Crush, but that loss is a shootout loss, so I tend to not count those. Dan K, I know, doesn't count them really too much either. A win against Battle Creek, but MJDP feels like they're picking up right where they left off.
And what would Metro be without incredible defensemen and incredible net minding? Like the entire Metro program from top to bottom. The 3 leading point getters right now, all defensemen. Jacques Lavrock. You talk about Nicholas DeStefanis and Jack Rivera, all familiar faces in the same place right here with 3 points. Jake Taylor and Landon Graham, 2 forwards, tied with 3 points as well. Joseph Martin up there from the defenseman position. This team is deep. They are probably, in my mind, top 2 in this Midwest East. I think there's one other team we might talk about in a little bit that really floored me when I saw them in person. Andrew Parmentier, 2-0 start to the season, a .54 goals against. He's allowed just 1 goal on 60 shots faced. He's got a .983 saves percentage and a shutout to his record already. MJDP is a nightmare factory in the Midwest East. I love what they're doing there. Let's go to number 16. It's a team that had a tough weekend in the Music City. Tougher than when Dan K thought he was going to start a country career and made a band, and the band all left. So he showed up to a concert venue and got booed off the stage, and there was big like mesh netting and they were throwing drinks at me. Wait, no, that was the Blues Brothers, not Dan K. My apologies. But the Toledo Cherokee at number 16. This is the lowest they've been in a long time, Lucas. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, a little bit of an unfamiliar spot for Toledo here, who spent a lot of last season at or near the top and came into nationals with some championship expectations. And not to say they don't have them this year, because they certainly do. And it is still early. We've only played a handful of games here. But 2 of those games were against the Nashville Spartans. Both of those games, Toledo ended up losing. Right? So when you have 2 losses to your name, even though they're against a team that we'll talk about later in Nashville, you tend to drop a little bit. Now, they've beaten Columbus, they've beaten Cincinnati, and they've beaten Buffalo twice. Their overall goal differential, still great. We know how good their recruitment is. We know how good their systems are. We know how much fun their fans are. This is a team we don't expect to stay at 16 for long, but for this month, they're here.
Here's the thing. They have no problem up front. Aiden Gonzalez, Brett Lagelfo, Santino Malteri. You talk about Roman Templeton, Jacob Amar, Grant Hendrickson, Nick Constantine, Nick Magini. You talk about Cameron Reel, Alexander Atchison, Leo Crawford. They have no problems up front. You look in net right now, Krill, Shiflett, and Nowak, all with a 3 goals against average, right? All 3 of your netminders. That's where the game's going to be won and lost in this division. The Great Lakes, Metro's always going to have great goaltending. Nashville, coming in from the southeast of the Great Lakes, they know how to score the puck, and they're doing it in bunches against everybody every single night. So this is going to be a really difficult Great Lakes division. Nashville, Metro, and Toledo, something's got to give. There's only 2 punch tickets to Nationals. There's no at-large bid for these 3, right? So somebody's got to get that second spot, that first spot, and somebody's going to be left with no dance to the ball. And Dan K's been left without a dance spink to the ball before. I've been sitting on the side of the road going, where's my date to the ball? I've bought this gown. I look incredible. No date to the ball.
Yeah, like you say, Dan, there's only 2 tickets to punch, right? And you may think you have a ticket, but they're only going to punch 2. And if your ticket's not punched, you can't go to nationals.
100% punched the ticket. And we will be doing later on this year, Punch Dan K. You can buy as many tickets as you want to Punch Dan K, and it'll be a great fundraiser. Number 15, the Islanders Hockey Club. Coach Jay Punske makes the move to Worcester State, but still a top 20 team in the Premier.
Yeah, you don't really see that potentially there's any fall off right now, right? You're looking at an IHC team that has been competitive through the start of the season. They have wins against Potomac. They have an overtime win against Hampton Roads. They've lost to Hitmen and the PAL Junior Islanders. So I think for IHC right now, it's going to be competitive, right? The biggest thing here is that you continue to play both inside and outside your division very well. I think we're going to see that from the Islanders Hockey Club. This first power ranking, especially in the Premier, Dan, always so hard to judge. Couple spots up, couple spots down. There is some room for movement.
Here's the only problem I have with IHC. I think you look at the spectrum of where they could have been ranked in this. I think they could have been ranked anywhere from 3 to outside the top 20. And it's because it's great wins mixed with bad losses in my mind, right? Like there are games that they probably should have taken care of. There's games that they probably could have lost and been fine. And they're a little all over the place. And I think this is a 15 spot that I think next month they could be as high as 5. I think the next month they could be out, like depending on how they play. You know how this New England division is too. It's a war each and every week. I like this IHC team a lot. I'm just power rankings wise, this is kind of putting them in this spot and saying, prove it to us now, right? The first power rankings of the year, you take it with a grain of salt, you put it on the bulletin board, and you get to work. That's where IHC stands right now for me. Let's go to number 14, the top ranked team from the Midwest East Division, the Chicago Crush, another first timer in the Dan K Show power rankings, the fourth already.
Yeah, new teams, new season, right? And the Chicago Crush, 3-1-0-0, 6 points to start the season. In 4 games, 9 goals for, 7 goals against. Walking the razor's edge of hockey games to start here, Dan. Somebody go check coach's blood pressure after this opening salvo. They have good wins, though. They wins against Battle Creek, MJDP, a shootout win against Fort Wayne. They also lost a game, MJDP, so you kind of split that. But I really think that the Chicago Crush here are setting the table for what this season's going to be. You play this 3-1 style record. Dan, if you play that ratio of games all season long, you're going to have a pretty good record by the end of the season.
Yeah, and for me, this is a top 20 team based on their netminder, Jack Sundhall. When they play a big game, Jack's going to be the guy net. We saw him in Pueblo last year, and we loved him there. He's 3-0 to start the year. He's got a 9.44 saves percentage, a 1.62. When they played against Battle Creek in that first game that I got a chance to watch, you might say, like, hey, the shot total wasn't big from Battle Creek early on, but the third period it was. The third period was kind of a deluge, right? And you look at it, that's a netminder. It's the toughest thing to do as a netminder is to kind of sit still for 40 minutes of hockey and then stand on your head when the team needs you most. And he did just that. You talk about the balance in scoring this year. Last year it was all Nick Zahalan. Like Nick Zahalan had at a zillion points. This year teams are paying attention to him a lot more, right? They're trying to take him out of the game plan. Their goal is take him out and see what happens with everyone else. Owen Reisertz has looked great. Jonathan Wood, he was my favorite defenseman to watch so far this year at this premier level. Jonathan Wood, the right defenseman, 2 assists on the season already, the year 2004. This kid's legit. This kid is legit. He is absolutely stellar. Caden Day and Sam Barnett's tied with Helen for the team lead in points with 3. Jason Castaneda at the defenseman position is really good. Spencer Cockey. This is a really, really, really deep Chicago Crush side. Watch out for him. Number 13. We go to the wagon of Wilkes. The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights. A little confusion during the ranking system because Dan K ranked them twice in 2 different spots. Apparently, I like them that much. Let's talk Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, started off with a little bit of confusion as to why Dan ranked 26 teams and I ranked 25, but we figured it out. We got there together, and the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, I mean, another season, right? Another top 20 performance. That organization is so consistent. Why are they consistent? Well, you look at the amount of coaches they have, right? You look at everyone being in one building. You look at things like the Revolution Academy, right, where they're providing learning opportunities for their players. It's quality organization, and when you put in the work, every season you tend to be up there. And for the Wilkes-Barre Knights right now, 3-0-1-0, 7 points to start the season, +9 goal differential, split series against Elmira, 2 wins against the Rockets. The Atlantic Division is tough, right? It's always a bit of a slog, and I think Wilkes-Barre has proven that they're going to be one of the top teams in it.
Yeah, and Wilkes-Barre has to get a little bit better at their live scoring before I trust naming any of their stats because I've gotten burned by that before this year. But the Wilkes wagon looks good. We put them at number 13, and make sure that when you live score, you put in the right numbers. Number 12, we go to a team that always does everything right, and an owner that we absolutely love, and just a building that made us cry last season, Lucas, after our gear was stolen, and they sent us a video live mid-game of them wishing us the best after they passed around a hat to raise money to help buy our gear back. We love this organization through and through. They battled for the Axe last year. They might not have got it, but they have a chance in the Battle of the Axe 3, Electric Boogaloo, this season against the Minnesota Moose. It's the Blue Ox at number 12.
Yeah, and with everything being so hectic last year after our gear was stolen, I can't remember if we really fully properly thanked those fans for that outreach, for that fundraising, and for that video. It really, really did hit us hard when we got sent that video of you guys pooling together, supporting the show. So we really want to thank Blue Ox fans, Blue Ox Nation, and that organization for everything they did last year and continue to do, right? Supporting this team as the team gets off to a 2-0-0-0 start, 4 points to start the season, a +5 goal differential with wins against the Mullets, the Steele County Blades. Listen, the Blue Ox, they love to battle. We talk about teams who, oh yeah, they're battling in tough divisions. If you put the Blue Ox in around a couple of teams that weren't good, they would be complaining. They were like, "Where's our battle? Where's our war? We want to get going on this." They welcome the challenge, and they've succeeded so far.
Yeah, and you just, I was a babbling brook on the air in Pueblo, Colorado, when we got sent that video from the folks in Minnesota. So we love you guys so much. We're so excited to get out and see everybody again this season, this winter. I'm not excited to freeze my tuchus off again, but I am excited to come see everybody. Let's go to number 11. The Carolina Junior Canes, number 1 in the Elite, number 11 double ones in the Premier. This Junior Canes team is good.
Yeah, they are very good. And I think when you talk about the start that they've had at 5-3-0-0 with a +5 goal differential, 35 goals for, 30 goals against, I'm sure the first thing that they're going to say when we show up to the Carolina Showcase is we really need some improvement. We need to find ways to improve. And every coach will tell you that. But when your early season resume includes wins against the infantry and Richmond and Potomac, even if that is a split series with Potomac, and even the loss against the Rush, you really can't be upset about. So I think for the Carolina Junior Canes, good start for them. I'm sure they've got places where they would like to be in the next month.
Yeah, Caden Glamkowski, what a move there, bringing him in, right? Like
Right.
13 points, get him over from Columbia. They grab him away, they snatch him on, and this kid is snatching goals like always. This guy, no matter where he plays, he scores a ton of points. 6 goals, 7 assists, 13 points on the season, 1 power play goal for him. Cornell Cabus, another familiar face. Braden Strong, Keaton Tonjes. You talk about Caden Surchuk, Matthew Loza, Matteo Viglino. These are all just familiar faces, man, that continue to dominate. Nolan Bolt skating around. This is a really good team. This is a deep team yet again. And I think with Glamkowski at the top, if they can build the right pieces around them, they're going to be difficult to deal with all season long. They're getting enough net minding. I think they're kind of a team similar cut to Toledo right now, where the net out has got to get a little bit better. You need the guys in the pads to really step up right now and get the job done for you. That's the difference maker to try to take you from an 11 to a top 10 team right there. Number 10, the top ranked team out west, the Las Vegas Thunderbirds. New ownership might make fun of the fact that I drink extra large coffees and not espressos, but there's nothing to make fun of with how good this Vegas team looks in the Pacific.
I mean, he had some great advice. No cappuccinos after 4 o'clock. That has certainly proven correct. And if he can recommend coffee the same way he can help build a hockey team, it's not just going to be a quick start for the Thunderbirds. It is going to be a quick start, a great finish, and a dominant season in between. 5-1-0-0 to start the season, 10 points, nearly double goals for to goals against, 31 goals for, 16 goals against. Wins against the Sabres, taking 2 of 3 against Ontario. The Thunderbirds right now looking to prove that last season was not just a fluke, it's a pattern.
Yeah, Nicholas Benaldi, certainly not a fluke. This guy's a great white shark on the blue line, right? Like, see that fish pun?
Locked in.
Like
Guys
a
locked
fluke,
in.
tinier fish, and then a great white shark, a giant fish. Like Nicholas Benaldi, though, the defenseman, 1 goal, 8 assists, 9 points for him from the blue line. Jack Doobie and Josiah Grunholtz, 9 points for each of them, 6 goals for Doobie, 5 goals for Grunholtz. You got Noah Morency with 8 points. You got Mark Scioli with 7, Gavin Frack with 6. You got Scott Slayback, one of my favorite names in the game. Ethan Rakina, Logan Waltz. This is a fun team to watch. They've got this new branding. They've got the Vegas look. We're excited to get out to Vegas. We've been talking to a few college coaches around the country about getting everybody into the building out there. It's going to be a great showcase just before Christmas time there, before the holiday break. I'm excited about what this Vegas team has. I see them climbing the standings even more as this season goes on. Let's go to number 9. The top team in the power rankings this month from the Midwest West. Unfortunately, will the curse continue? We will see. We do tend to curse the team we rank the highest. The Minnesota Squatch. Squatch out! I owe Woodsy a text back. for about 9 months about golf. I keep forgetting. And when I ranked them today and put them at number 9, I went, oh my God, I never responded to Woodsy.
You respond to Woodsy right now, and I'll talk about them start to the Minnesota Squatch season. The
Got it. I'm
Squatch
on it.
starting the year 3-0-0-0. It's a lot of O's. That means they haven't lost yet. They have wins against the Mullets, Steele County Blades. They have a win against Isani. I think for me, the most incredible thing that they've gotten so far is their goal differential. Through 3 games, they have given up 4 goals. They have scored 24 goals. They are winning these games by huge margins. They are winning these games, Dan, by almost 6-7 goals a game. That's a massive way to start the season. Again, regardless of who you play.
Yeah, Trevor Roy, 63 shots faced. He stopped 60 of them, a 9.52 saves percentage, a 1.50 goals against. A great start for him. And then Cannon, boom, Bonifay. The Boom is not an official middle name. I do have to say that, but he is going to go by Boom here on the Dan K Show. Johan Karjalainen, Jacob Rude, Jay Ellingson. Hey, we talk about when an organization does it right, you tend to see the players continue to come in, family members. The lineage continues. Jay Ellingson, Daniel Ellingson. You love to see that. This is a team that will score. They showed you last year they can do it. This season, if they can stay out of the peskiness, if they can stay out of the box a bit more, if they can finish off some of these big wins, that's how they take themselves from great to perfect and go make a national title run. At number 9, the highest ranking ever for the Minnesota Squatch. Congratulations to an incredible crew there. We go to number 8, an organization that's friends with the Squatch organization. They're all friends. They've all known each other forever in this hockey world. How about the Tampa Bay Juniors cracking the top 10, both in the Elite and the Premier?
Yeah, Tampa Bay Juniors, in the Premier here, 8 points their first 4 games. That means they haven't lost a game yet either. 4 wins for them, 2 against Palm Beach, 2 against the Florida Junior Blades. They've also got a massive goal differential, right? Scoring 26 goals, letting in 7, staying under that 2 goals per game on the defensive side. You like to see that right away. Again, it's so early, but whenever you can put up a perfect start to a season, that's got to count for something.
Yeah, and in net, their goaltending is incredible. Mio Eloranta and Sava Sergiuk, both 2-0. Eloranta, 9.59 saves percentage, a shutout already to his name, a 1 goal against average. Sava Sergiuk with a 9.14 and a 2.50. He stopped 53 shots this year. Ethan Domini, Grant Partial, huge addition in Livio Azevedo, coming from the Charlotte Rush down to Wesley Chapel, Florida, to play for TBJ. Watch out, Tampa, new look squad, a lot of new fresh faces in the building, and this team's going to be built on speed, and they're only going to get better as the year goes on with that development program there. We go to number 7. This is a first. This team in the Premier has never cracked our top 20, the 5th first-timer in the First Timers Club this month, and the highest of all the first-timers. The Connecticut Junior Rangers Premier, Lucas, led now by Coach Mike Stanaway, and they are off to a hot start.
They really are, right? They're 3-1-0-0, 6 points to start the season. They look really good, right? We talk sometimes about the eye test and about what a team looks like when they're out there on the ice. They look good. They've beaten South Shore, they've beaten Gatineau, they've beaten the Hampton Roads Whalers, lost only to Utica so far for a 3-1-0-0 record, but I think for the Junior Rangers, I'm enjoying the physicality mixed in with the speed so far. I think they're a dynamic team. And Dan, there's one thing we talked about off the air, which we now can bring onto the air. Underestimate Mike Stanaway at your own risk. He gets
100%.
better as the year goes on. That team will gel. That team will get more dangerous. And end of season Mike Stanaway is a very different animal from beginning of season.
My favorite edition of all time is the Yakov Yaksin edition, where Coach Stanaway looks at us and goes, we added Yaksin. I was tired of playing against him, man. This guy's too good. I don't want to play against him, so I'm just going to recruit him. Yaksin, you bring him in. He's got 5 points already. Hunter Scanlon is absolutely filthy. Marcus Andrews is a great ad. Max Tanskinen's off to a strong start. Blake Andrioni. Yes, Blake Andrioni, that last name sounds like it should be read at Madison Square Garden. Goal scored by Andrioni, assisted by Scanlon and Yaksin. At 8:14 in the first period. Rangers goal by Andrioni.
You're having fun with that name.
Don't cut me off in the middle of a rant.
You took too long of a breath.
You're right. You're right. It's on me. It's early in the season. I take full credit for it. I apologize. I might have had a bit of an outburst. Adrian Lamp's really good. It's tough to light the lamp against him. He's 3-0. Stellar start to the season for him. I like a Connecticut Junior Rangers team with a great goaltender with Mike Stanaway coaching. Watch out. Number 7 for the Connecticut Junior Rangers. First time ever in the top 20. Highest ranked team in the First Timers Club. Congratulations, Connecticut Junior Rangers Premier. Let's go to number 6. And this is an interesting one at 6. They've only played once, but roster-wise, behind the scenes, I'm going to bring this to the public right now. Behind the scenes, I've been asked who Dan K thinks is the early season frontrunner to win the national championship. I have said it off the air. I will now say it on the air for the first time. At number 6, Dan K's way too early prediction for the Premier National Champions, the Metro Jets.
And this is a high ranking for a team that's only played one game, but you look at the roster, we know some of these players, we've researched all of them, right? You can see the pedigree of these players, where they've come from, how they've performed, and you have to imagine that inside that Metro Jets organization, that team is going to come together. They have one game, one win so far against Cincinnati, so not a lot statistics-wise to go on. But from what we hear, from what we see, what we can look up, Metro Jets are a team that is going to be very scary. And the triumvirate, we talked about Toledo, we will talk about Nashville, but now talking about Metro. 3 teams, 2 spots. The Great Lakes could be the most interesting division to watch.
Taylor White, I think, is the best netminder in the country right now, playing for Metro. Carson Finney, 5 points for him. Josh Bose speaking up from the blue line with 4 points already. Tyler Husted, Hugo Lolier, Mason Cole, Jack Noonan, and Brock Hart making the jump over here. Brock Hart you lose some of the best blue line play in the country last season, and you replace it with Brock Hart? Like, shut up. Like, that's just stupid. It's unreal to get Brock Hart into this building. Alex Blankenship, Robert Vanderdonk, Emmerich Froding, like Alex Bedenko, Carson Red, Lucas Castle, Ethan Hellman, Devin Mastey, Stephen Miller, the Stephen Miller Band, baby, Yarne Verowick. Taylor White's got an assist on the season. The netminder's already got an assist in one game, Lucas. He has a shutout and an assist on the season. And you look at it, you talk about number 47, who I know we'll never forget, right? And you talk about this team with someone to play for, something to play for, and someone to play like. And this team's going to be Lewis Strong all season. This play like Bray is the tag this year. I know the Dan K show's living by it as well each and every day. Play like Bray. We ask every player around the country to do it. I know Metro's going to be doing it more than most. The Metro Jets are my selection. Way too early prediction. National championship. They're going to do it for Braden Lewis, and they're going to put a number 47 up in the rafters along with the national championship banner from this season. I can't wait to see it. Number 5, the Utica Junior Comets. At number 5, Lucas, the highest ranking in Utica Junior Comets Premier history. A lot of history being made in the first power rankings of the year.
Yeah, you're kind of throwing a little bit of a wrench into the situation. A lot of teams that have always dominated that top 10 maybe falling off. A lot of newcomers this year, and I think for the Utica Junior Comets, a team not necessarily a newcomer to the league, but certainly a team that has gone off to a start here that should be mentioned and should be highlighted. In 4 games, they are 4-0-0-0, 8 points, a goal differential of plus 10. So again, they're under that 2 goals per game given up number, which we like to see. They've beaten the Junior Rangers. They've beaten the Springfield Picks. They've beaten the Jersey Hitmen. They might be coming to play this year, Dan. The Utica Junior Comets at all levels of the game, they're going to be a team to watch out for.
You got a name like Brogan, you're going to get mentioned on the Dan K Show. It's a great name. Rogan Colquhoun in net. He's got a 144, 950 saves percentage. Camden Widgington in net, 2-0 with a 957. Mason Jones, a 941 with a 2 goals against average. They're getting it done in net. It's the same thing that's happening at their NCDC right now. We just saw the Ultimate Team card drop, and both of their netminders got dropped there in Esch and Manly. And they're doing the same thing at the premier level in net, stopping pucks. Trevin Erie, 6 points. Joshua Gregor. You talk about Joey DeMiglio with 5. Daniel Justovics with 5. Like Jason Galante. You got Jake Hall. You got Lucian Williams. This team is deep. This team is good. And a strong start to the season. When you sweep a showcase to start the year, you know you're doing something right. When one of those teams are the Connecticut Junior Rangers, who we put at 7, you didn't just sweep a showcase, you beat the teams in front of you, and they were tough. So a great start for Utica. We go to number 4, another team that's beaten everybody, the Florida Eels. A very strong start for them at number 4.
Yeah, 5 games, 5 wins, putting up 10 points to start the season, a plus 22 goal differential. In those 5 games, they've given up 10 goals, so sitting at that 2 goal mark. But I think the more impressive stat, Dan, is scoring over 6 goals a game so far. Beating Atlanta Mad Hatters, beating the Palm Beach Typhoon, some tough teams down there in Florida. And for the Eels, they find themselves, I feel like, in a Metro Jets situation, Dan, where the last couple of years, they really felt like they had a strong case to be made for national championship and national champion. And the last couple of years, they have fallen just short of that. So I feel like, along with the Metro Jets, the Florida Eels, they've got their eyes set on the top, and they're hungry for a championship.
How about Dylan Baugen in net, Lucas? Does that name sound familiar? Took the Wilkes Wagon to a national championship runner-up last season between the pipes. Now makes the move up to the Premier with the Florida Eels. He's 2-0 with a 939 saves percentage out the gates and a shutout. Tobias Bell with him 3-0. He's got a 267 and a 926. Skaters, how about Noah Trevathan, Matthew Perry, familiar names. Maverick Krupe, who's just been doing it at this level for years. Jared Salmonen, Jacob Gobu, Braden Goddard, Braden Bazovi, Devin Shepard, Alexander Klingerman, just names you know. And then you add in Dario Zitko with a 5-4 start to the year, 9 points for him, 2 power play goals, 1 power play assist. He's got a game winner on the season. Adamo Dore, Landon Angles, Mark Phillips, Ite Bondar. This is a team with faces that you know how to do things with. And then this team can win. This team can win. And you look at Ocean Angus. What a name. Ocean Angus playing in Florida.
Amazing.
Your first name's Ocean. Your first name is a body of water. Your last name is a stellar cut of beef. Ocean Angus.
It might be the most unique name I've seen in the USPHL. The puns are nearly limitless for you, Dan.
And he's got a point. This guy is going to be stellar for them all season long. Really, really good team. Let's go to number 3. Eels were 4-4. So 4 in the Elite, 4 in the Premier. Potomac, 2 in the Elite, 3 in the Premier. What is going on with the boys in Potomac land? The Patriots, number 3.
Yeah, Potomac right now, I mean, they're on top of the division, certainly. They're scoring a ton of goals. Their defense looks good. They're playing physical as well. 6-0, 2-0, so 14 points to start. They've got wins against Hampton, the Junior Canes, the Junior Bruins, the Northern Cyclones, the South Shore Kings. They lost to the Junior Canes, lost to the Islanders Hockey Club. Both of those losses in overtime. So, again, you devalue them just a tad, but they are against tough opponents too, right? So Potomac has challenged themselves early. They're being rewarded for it when they win a bunch of those games, so I like them at this ranking.
How about the Marcianock twins, year 2005 birth years? 23 points in 8 games for Siamon and Matsve with 15. 10 goals, 13 assists, and 7 goals and 8 assists. These two are unreal right now as year 2005 birth years at the Premier level. They're unrivaled. Alader Aktayev with 12 points. Moritz Persson, with 11 points. Gian Correa with 9. Newt Hornquist with 8. Giovanni Flores with 7. This team has that international flair yet again, that speed, that skill, that ability, a partnership with the Pueblo Bulls of the NCDC Tier 2 to allow their players an opportunity to move up the ladder. They're doing it right from top to bottom. They're investing in this organization. Samuel Couture, a 5-0-1 start in net with a 9.15 and a 2.83 goals against average. This team deserves number 3. And this gets us to 2-1. And this is interesting. There are 2 teams left that if you look at the standings right now, you can probably pretty easily pinpoint who we're talking about here at the top 2. There's one team that's never been number 1. There's one team that's never been top 5. There's one team that's never been top 10. That's the same team. The other team has been number 1 in the power rankings more than any other team in the Premier in the history of the Dan K Show. Number 2, the Charlotte Rush.
And for Charlotte, kind of where they expect to be. That's an organization that has high expectations for themselves. 6-0-0-0 to start the season, collecting those 12 points, just really dominating on both sides of the puck. 42 goals for, 10 goals against, wins against the Infantry, Atlanta Mad Hatters, Junior Canes. Look, they're scoring a bunch. They're not letting a bunch in. Dominant roster, great recruitment, great coaching staffs. I'm excited to get to see them play in person.
Easton Stafford leading the way with Jared Weiser at 12 points. Zach Nichols and Nick Metelkin with 10 points each. Jack Cullen, Jack Day, Jacob Williams, Matthew Hamacher, Peter Keese, so good. This guy could play for free. The defenseman with 6 points. What a job for Peter Keese. My God, you'd pay to see him play. This Peter Keese guy, he's that good. This defenseman, 1 goal, 5 assists. Former Blue Ox, makes the move to the Charlotte Rush. Had a tryout with the Boston Junior Bruins this offseason in the NCDC. Peter Keese is that good. Baldwin, Beimers in net. And then how about Rocco Stoles? Makes the move from the Metro Jets, who have Taylor White, who we called potentially the best netminder in the country. Rocco Stoles makes the move from Metro to Charlotte, starts his season 3-0 with a 2.33 and a 9.19 saves percentage. This Charlotte team, the Red could be a wagon, they say. Some say Red's a wagon. Last year, they were saying Red's a wagon. This year, they might be saying Red's a wagon as well, potentially.
Yeah, red could be a wagon. We'll wait and see. We'll keep our wagon comments away until maybe middle of November here, but they've certainly put together a very impressive resume.
Lucas Jones, we get to number 1, and I put my belt buckle on each and every morning and strap up and lace on my cowboy boots, and I grab a guitar and I sing about the woes of my day, the moments I've missed, the goals that just haven't found the back of the net, the saves that have just tipped off my glove and found their way home. But there's one thing that doesn't give me the blues right now, and it's hockey in the Music City. And it's them Nashville Spartans. And as they say in the movie 300, y'all better watch out for the Spartans. I believe that was a quote from Leonidas himself. He said, y'all better watch out. And he grabbed his guitar and he played a song about going 8-0. 8-0 to start the season. This team isn't just deep, they're ruthless. Gus Imkin and Kyle Flynn come on over from Provo and immediately lead the team in points. 20 points and 19 for the two of them. You got Austin McHale. And let's not forget to talk about bringing in Ryan Grant from Carolina and adding him to this roster at the right wing. And also, let's not forget to talk about Ronan Keenan, the biggest beautician in USPHL history. This guy started in Tampa, makes the move to Nashville. He can't be stopped. He's a big man. If he stays locked in, this team stays locked in. Gino Indelicato, Alec Poole, Corey Walker, Trent Bangels. This Nashville Spartans team at 8-0 just swept and didn't just sweep, controlled and dominated Toledo in a 2-game set at home. Nashville Spartans number 1.
You can't really overstate that series against Toledo, I don't think, right? It's a new year, it's new teams for sure. You can't just expect that the Toledo of last year is the Toledo of this year is the Toledo of 2 years ago. But for a team like Toledo, you do, right? So when Nashville comes to town and ends up beating Toledo in the way that they did, that's a statement-making win. Dan, I know you got a few text messages. I got 2 or 3 different text messages once the game ended of just, hey, you guys saw that, right? So that's a pretty impressive performance right there. They've also got wins against Columbus. They've got wins against Buffalo. The defense is working. The offense is working. Nashville Spartans invade the Great Lakes Division, and they are just creating an absolute mess up there.
Lucas, I had over a dozen texts from coaches around the country and scouts around the country that watched Nashville against Toledo. Every single one said, wow, Nashville's real. And to hear that from the names that I have behind the scenes that are saying that this Nashville roster is real,
yep,
it's solidifying. It's rock solid. And I trust the guys who were texting me more than I trust myself and my own judgment. I think this Nashville team, this is like getting voted upon as the leader of this one. This Nashville Spartans team, if you're talking about what have you done for me lately, no one's gone 8-0 yet. Charlotte at 6-0. They may jump them this month. That's definitely a possibility. We might see that right away. But you talk about this Nashville team right now, Lucas, it is hard to find a world where they are not your number 1. They get net minding. They get goal scoring. They do a little bit of everything. You can trust them on the blue line. You can trust the leadership in the organization. You can trust the players that are behind the scenes. And Saturday night, October 7th. Pretty quick after this airs, Lucas. That's just 2 days after. 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Dan K Show #1 team in the nation, the Nashville Spartans, take on the Dan K Show #2 team in the nation, the Charlotte Rush, in a prime time power ranking matchup. It's grudge match time immediately. Who will win? Who will prove themselves #1? You don't have to say a thing to us until that puck drops on Saturday night. There doesn't have to be, ooh, we're #1. Ooh, we're #1. Ooh, we should be this. Go play for it right now. The scraps are in the building. The meat's in the lion's cage. Let's get to battling, fellas. Nashville, Charlotte, 1v2. Get after it.
I love it. I love when our power rankings immediately get put to the test because we don't have to wait a long time, and all of USPHL Nation is locked in. It's going to be a good one.
Hey, Sunday, October 8th, 9:15 p.m. Eastern, the Potomac Patriots take on the Nashville Spartans in a 1v3 as well. Talk about the schedule for Nashville. They start against Tampa Saturday afternoon at 12:15. Tampa, top 10 team in the Dan K Show Power Rankings. Then they play the #2 Rush. Then they play the #3 Potomac Patriots, and they close it out Monday against the Carolina Junior Canes at #11. They are going to be put through it over the next 4 days. We will see how they come out. Will they come out unscathed, or will they come out dominant? Nashville Spartans at #1. We run back through it as we close out this week's power rankings. Spartans at #1. The Charlotte Rush at #2. The Potomac Patriots at 3. The Florida Eels at 4. #4 in the Premier. #4 in the Elite. At #5, the Utica Junior Comets, their highest ranking in team history. With only one game behind them, the 6th place Metro Jets. Dan K told you they're going to win the title this year. Is his way too early prediction. At #7, Mike Stanaway and his Connecticut Junior Rangers, their first time cracking the top 20. At #8, the Tampa Bay Juniors. #9, Squatch Out. It's the Minnesota Squatch. At #10, the Las Vegas Thunderbirds. #11, the Carolina Junior Canes. #12, the Minnesota Blue Hawks. We love you all. At #13, the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, the Wilkes-Wagon. #14, First Timers Club, Chicago Crush. #15, the Islanders Hockey Club. #16, the Toledo Cherokee. #17, the Metro Jets Development Program, both Metro and MJDP in the top 20. At #18, their first time, the PAL Junior Islanders. #19, their first time, the Seattle Totems. And at #20, their first time, the Hershey Cubs. That will do it for this week's Premier and Elite Power Rankings. Weigh in right now at _NK Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong, and where you want to see the Dan K Show travel to next. I'm Dan K. That's been Lucas Jones. I don't want to hear his parting words today. I've got no interest in it. We got to get this thing edited. No, don't you put your hand down. When Dan K's on a mic, it's always hockey night.